So this will be interesting. I've never shot video in a tent before, a one-man tent. So we'll see how it shows up. But anyway, I'm dealing with a lot of rain on this trip, and so far I'm staying dry. You know, I'm starting to find the little nuances of this tent, and again, you know, everybody's got to compare a new tent to an old tent, and I'm comparing mine to 20 years of a Hilleberg, first an Octo, then an Enon, and saying, you know, what I'm missing. And one of the things I'm missing is some floor space here. So this is, I mean, this is plenty of floor space, but with my Enon, my Hilleberg Enon, the inside inner tent footprint, you know, went out in the center toward those hoops, and so I got a little space, like, you know, right over here that this doesn't have, but I have so much more room up at the head and at the foot, plenty of vestibule space. And again, I'm using my patrol poncho out there in that corner because I think it's just going to be a hassle to try and put a footprint around that pole and deal with that all the time. So I'll just always throw my patrol poncho out there for putting my pack on and, you know, leaving all my wet boots, clothes, everything out there that I don't want to bring into the tent. I don't want to bring moisture in. I don't want to bring any more condensation than I have to deal with. This is not inside condensation, it's outside rain. There is some condensation there, but very little. I haven't had to deal with steep walls, so I don't, you know, condensation's a problem with any tent, but it's not going to be a problem with this tent. And the inner tent stays well away from the outer. I won't be pushing this thing against the outer. I've got plenty of room in here. Pitch is taut, so that's not going to be a problem. The other thing about this tent is I've got a lot more headroom at both ends. You know, my Hilleberg, it tapers down to save weight and space, and this inner tent is same height at both ends, and so it's much easier to work on unpacking and packing up gear. You know, whether it'll be a heat problem, I don't know. I mean, it is going to be heating a bigger area with your body heat heater. My Hilleberg was like, you know, a little cavern that I climbed into, and I was always pretty warm in there. And you know, this is a solid inner, so I'm thinking that's not going to be an issue, and I find the extra room kind of a luxury. So plenty of room at the foot end without hitting the sidewall. And again, hitting the sidewall is still, the outer tent's a long way from that, but it's got plenty of length. I could use a little more width, but I can live with this. And I've got, you know, plenty of room back here. I've got all this vestibule space out here, you know, I haven't even used yet. I mean, on some nights you could just leave this open, and if it wasn't buggy, and you'd feel like you were in a three-man tent, I think. This little tie-out seems to work fine. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's easy to tie, easy to cut loose. Want to zip things up. So this is more than just a tent experiment. This is a camera experiment. If you can even hear me over the rain. I don't know what the quality of this is going to turn out to be. We'll see. The other thing I wanted to make a point of, though, and you probably noticed it if you watched my video on my first date with this thing, the zippers work really easy. You know, one-handed zippers. Same with my Cockwell 40 pack, one-handed zippers. And I'm used to that, and I kind of expect that. My Hilleberg tents have always had easy open zippers, never a problem. And you'll appreciate that, especially, you know, when you get into bad weather and you need to zip in and out of these things. So one thing I definitely will change is this strap that holds the inner tent out to the pole. It just, for me, it's a pain in the butt trying to get that pole, especially with my storage poles, under that pole, you know, by lifting it up, because mine are tight already. So I'll put some kind of a strap or a clip on that I can just wrap around the pole. So the other thing is organization. I'm going to have to learn where things go in this tent, where's the best spot for it. Like with my Hillybird for 20 years, everything had its place. So if I was looking for something in the dark, I knew where it was. I mean, you know, have you ever seen Stevie Wonder's house? Probably not. Neither is he. But he can probably put his hands on whatever he wants, whenever he wants. And you want to run your pack and your tent the same way. Because it could be dark some night. You couldn't maybe not find your light if it isn't working, whatever. And you know where things are. So something I seldom do is take the inner tent apart from the outer tent. I just pack them together, but because I've had so much rain on this trip, and I'm gonna have it all night tonight and all tomorrow, probably till midday, so I'll unhook this inner tent and keep it dry. But usually I'll just set it up during the day if I know I'm gonna get some nice weather, and I'll just let it dry, you know, while I'm having a snack or something. The inner and the outer tent. This stuff dries so quickly. I'm sure this polyester is going to be even quicker than my sil nylon. Again, it remains to be seen. I haven't had any experience with this, but again, this stuff does not take that long to dry, and if you had to take a half-hour lunch and let it sit in the sun, the job's done. Well, the only thing that the weather gods haven't thrown at me on this trip is wind. I said I was praying for wind. How sick is that? But I would like to try this in the wind, but it seems like a good solid tent. I feel comfortable with it. I feel comfortable in it. Again, I just have to get used to it. You know, eventually it'll probably fit like a glove, but everything's new right now, and I'm kind of finding my way with it. But I would give it a high rating from what I've seen so far. Keep you posted. Keep smiling.